Welcome to the Sunday Night Army podcast. I am Jacob, and today, something new for the show. What we're going to do right now is a special episode, just a reaction series. That's what we're going to do now. And it'll be YouTube only. So this won't be available on your podcast streaming platforms. It'll be YouTube strictly. So why a reaction series? Well, we have events happening in the world that need it. And I figured I put out a question out there on Twitter. Should I do one? Like, I might do a reaction video to this Ukraine situation. As someone born in Eastern Europe and Poland, you guys, if you listen to the show, you know this is kind of a big deal to me. War in general is a big deal to me. And what I'm reading right now in the news, following along since this whole thing started, it's insanity. Now, let me give you my opinion on why I think it's insanity, besides it being war, and why I'm not even surprised. Remember, Vladimir Putin is doing something that has been done for centuries. Yes, starting a war is tragic, but it's happened many, many times, just like this, where you have a country that's a superpower and it wants to do whatever it wants to do. Now, this happened many times in history, and countries just go in and take over whatever they want. Yes, Ukraine, part of it used to be part of Russia. Let's just remember history here. Ukraine used to be part of many different things. A lot of Europe used to be part of different things. Part of Ukraine used to be Poland too, my country. Now, you can't just go in and take land. This is what's happening right now. Putin just wants the land. He wants the country. He wants the resources. He wants what he thinks belongs to him in the first place. Now, again, this has happened in the history before, or for those that know history, it's just repeating itself. Now, when this started, I knew exactly what it was, where this might lead to. One of a couple ways. This might lead to an all-out war, which is happening right now in Ukraine. Now, will this spark another world war? A lot of people are saying yes, World War III. I don't know. I don't think it will. I don't think it should. What needs to happen, I think, is Europe needs to stand up, show its force, that they have a bigger force with NATO, and hopefully Putin will stop. Now, again, I keep saying now because now is a key time from a Vladimir Putin perspective. He wants to do whatever he wants to do. The mentality of someone like this is to do whatever he wants. By show of force, he will do whatever he wants. He's not being challenged at any point. He will do whatever he wants. And I give props to the Ukraine people who are fighting back. And it's really hard to do when you're fighting on all sides. That's a nearly impossible task. And they are fighting on all sides. And it's very hard to defend even your own land from all sides. But what you have is a reaction from the world, from the West, with sanctions, which I think will not work. Putin doesn't give a shit about sanctions. He's in a state of war where international reaction with sanctions doesn't do anything to him. He's already prepared. He's been preparing for this for years. He's amassed resources. He's amassed an army. He's amassed everything he needs for this. Sanctions will not hurt him. And yes, you will hear pundits, oh, okay, this is the first good step. It's a non-step because it doesn't affect him. It will affect his country in the years to come. But we're not in the years to come. We're here now where there is a war. To affect him now, you have to do something drastic. Now, what we don't have worldwide, here in Canada even, you don't have the resources as a country to do it. You have to do it as NATO. You have to do it as everyone together. Now, what stands in between that is China. And if you know what China's stance on this is in support of Russia, if you don't know that right now, then that's just what it is. Now, there's another conflict that's separate that will happen. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. It's happening now. And it's instead of happening with Taiwan. That's a separate topic. Let's talk about Ukraine. We can say this needs to stop, and we can put flags on all of our social media in support. But the problem is, for those that known this is going to happen for years. It was going to happen. Now, what's failed here is the cumulative government of Europe and the world. When you know it's going to happen, but you don't do anything to prevent it. You don't have a stance. You don't have a strong position. You don't have the preparedness. So my reaction to this is this was going to happen, and there should be no surprise to anyone. Now, what should happen personally, I think, like I mentioned, you have to shore up the borders of all those Romania, Poland, all those countries that are affected and nearby, part of NATO, and make a stand. Because what could happen? Putin might not want to stop at Ukraine. Might not be now, might be in a couple years or months, who knows? But once he gets those resources, let's say the worst case scenario, Ukraine falls quickly, which unfortunately, I feel so bad. Such an unfortunate situation. And if we haven't, again, it's just proof that we haven't learned anything from history. Nobody was prepared for this outside of Ukraine. So you have to now guess the next step of this maniac, because he is a maniac. It's just proof of history. This is a personality now where he has nothing to lose. And it's just a short step away from being a total tragedy in the world, not only Ukraine. So it's something that has to be focused on. And yeah, who am I, just some podcaster talking about it? Well, I love history and I love knowing what my history. I come from that part of the world, and it's hard to look at something that could have been prevented that is now affecting millions of lives, and people are dying. It is an all-out war. You've seen the videos, you've seen the clips of bombs flying through the air, of jets dropping bombs, of explosions. That's not that far away. That is right there. That's part of Europe. And it can come anywhere if they will to do so. It's just how it is. He has no limits now. Look what he did. A couple of days ago, yeah, US was saying it's imminent, it's imminent. Yeah, that's great. He even said it himself last week. Oh yeah, we'll look into negotiations, whatever, that nonsense. Boom. He always had this plan. You don't underestimate someone who's already prepared for this. Okay, he steps away. You can't be reactive. You have to be proactive. And this is just another way where and it's nobody's, and I'm not blaming any certain countries, but if you know it was coming, you have to get together. And here in Canada, Justin Trudeau, he can't do anything about it. This is the same person who invoked the Emergencies Act on a whole bunch of protesters waving flags in front of his parliament for no reason, okay? Not the protesters, but him invoking the War Act, basically. War is happening now. This is the time you look like an idiot in your timing and in your decision making. So yes, he's sending troops to support the border situation there, but it's a perfect example of we here don't realize how things are over there. We just don't. We just don't. As much as we would think we know, we can't know, because what we think is, what's happening here is bad. It's actually worse over there. And I'm not comparing the protests to war. I'm not. I'm comparing the abuse of power, because that type of abuse of power is implemented on times of war like we have right now in Ukraine, not when there's protests. Okay, so we have to take care of our business and be ready for what's happening there, because that can spread anywhere. And as allies, we have to support. I think we for many years now, we focused on the pandemic. We focused on a bunch of social issues, a lot of things that the other side that's causing the war doesn't give a shit about. They're focused on one thing, themselves and making themselves better. We don't have that mentality anymore. And we have to look at that as a country. Even the US, which is our border country, I'm not far from it right now, have to realize this might not stop. Even if he conquers Ukraine, this might not stop. And what are you prepared to do about it? What are these countries prepared to do about it? What are they going to do if he invokes World War III? That's just a question. There's a lot of journalists out there guessing what's happening. There's a lot of people in Ukraine seeing what's actually happening. Most of the people for the very first time, because they didn't expect, most of them haven't been in war zones, didn't expect it to happen there. But it happened. And it happened the way nobody was expecting. But Putin was ready to do whatever he wanted, and he did it anyway. So it's a reaction video for this podcast. If you guys think this is something I should continue doing sparingly, just whenever things happen, I'm down for it. I know a lot about history. I know a lot about war. I've studied it. I've read it. I've lived in times where I had to know it. And if you've listened to any of my episodes where I do commentary, I have touched on some of these subjects, why, some of my experiences. If you want to go back and do that. And I think we need to support our media, their troops, and hope we get the big picture. We hope we know, hopefully everybody's safe. We gotta hope Ukraine survives. This is an independent nation that in our times, since World War II, this hasn't happened in the modern world. Yes, there have been wars, many, but in this century, this is something unprecedented. Okay, this isn't Afghanistan. That was predetermined. Either when Russia attacked it, when US attacked it, you knew it was going to happen. The governments knew this was going to happen. They were just not prepared for. Okay, and again, this is, if you know what Ukraine is, this is a resource grab. This is a land grab. Just look how they invaded. And if you believe the tactics of Putin releasing to the media, oh, I'm just going to get these annexed areas that want to separate, you're out of your mind. You had to know, just like right now, he was going to cut right across the country from all sides. Look at a map. It was going to happen. But what's next? I don't know. What they need to do? I don't know. I'm not in that position. But your allies are at the border. There's millions of people in the way that need help. And for the only time in the last many, many years since this person has been prime minister here in Canada, I'm going to give Justin Trudeau credit. The only time he's opening up the immigration border from Ukraine to Canada. Okay, if he did open that, there's lines, there's communication to bring those people over. I support that 100%. This is an actual time of war there. This is not just somebody not liking living where they are and claiming refugee status. This is actual war, and I support that. So I have to give Justin Trudeau props for that, opening Canada's doors to the Ukrainian people anytime. Of course, it's the time of war. You need to get away. This is the place to go. If you don't go to my home country, Poland, and if you have the opportunity, get your asses here. I'm not saying it's war over there. If you have to leave, leave. So I think give him props for that. That's a good way to step up. And yeah, let's see what happens. Let's hope this resolves with no bloodshed. But looking at it right now, the videos on and with social media now, you can see it everywhere: TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere, Instagram. The videos keep popping up. Everybody has cell phones, and it's, if you think it's a movie, it's not a movie. This is real life. This is how real bombs drop, and this is what they do. So watch the live streams, learn, understand, and maybe for once we will learn from our history, from what's happening. And I'm only hoping that actually sticks into people's brains, because it's how things have been happening in our world, and it's happening in real life for us. We're experiencing it, learn from it, and hopefully we can be better. So that's the quick episode reaction to the Ukraine crisis from the Sunday Night Army. Again, I'm Jacob. Find me everywhere on all social media. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, you get my show. Yes, it's an entertainment show, but when things affect our world and I have an opinion on it, I am going to react to it. And I have had episodes on different things. And if this is cool, you don't want to see more of this space on the YouTube channel, which I am trying to expand. Like, subscribe, follow, and share. Let me know what you think. I want your opinions. I'll open up the lines of communication. How do you feel about the situation? And let's communicate. Let's make the world a better place. And hopefully this ends quickly. Talk to you guys soon.